So today we have something very special. I've been very excited about this model. We'll also check these out here in a second. I got to check this out at Blade Show Atlanta at the Tactile booth, along with the custom version.
We only made about 50 of these. It's called the Mariner 2.
So this is like 1 of 50?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I found it at a flea market years ago before I even started working at Tactile. Whenever Bob reached out to us about making a knife, I was like, we have to make this one.
How did you find it at a flea market? I never get that lucky.
That's where this came in.
Yeah.
We wanted to integrate the thumb disc. That was killer. If you look very closely at how we did this.
This is a design by Bob TERZUOLA, the Mariner 2 in Magna Cut steel, 6364. I think they're doing a great job with their Magna Cut. Now we are going to talk about a little bit of a controversial topic about Tactile here in a little bit. So stay tuned for that if you want to give some feedback or whatever. The Mariner 2, I already knew I was going to love it because I got to try it at Blade Show and I thought it was phenomenal. I couldn't believe how well the custom was after like 25 years. The custom was still like in perfect condition. It was amazing. Now this thing's not exactly like the custom. The custom was a little bit bigger. Anyways, this one, Magna Cut steel, like I said, 6364 HRC, beautiful stonewash, titanium scales, steel liner lock. We'll get to that in a second. It has a titanium backspacer with a hidden lanyard pin back there and a beautiful titanium spring pocket clip that functions extremely well, especially with this nice smooth finish right there. The thumb discs, like I said in my video with the other Bob TERZUOLA knife, which I did have to take down, by the way, I will be putting it back up or possibly just making a whole new video because I wasn't allowed to show the second knife that I had in that video. But these will be dropping soon and I will be making another video about it. But like I said in that video about the thumb disc, right? You can see the knurling around this one. The placement is amazing. And a lot of knives that use discs, they just don't place them in the right spot. They're always in a bad spot. Bob TERZUOLA, I believe, is the original person that did the thumb disc. I don't think it was Ernie Emerson, but I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. But either way, he has mastered where to put it. It literally goes in a perfect spot, and it makes it to where if all of them were like this, I would love thumb discs. That's the thing. If thumb discs were as good as these ones, or these knives, then I would freaking love it. Now, it does have some texturing around the outsides, and there is replacement ones that you can get. They have superconductor, Damascus, Mokamai, zirconium, I believe like an iced out titanium. They have a few different options. Maybe they'll start doing colored options as well. That might not be a bad idea, just raw titanium that's anodized. But anyways, hopefully I'll be getting some of those soon to throw on here and I can show you guys. But that's a nice little touch. You know, you can juice it up a little bit. Anyways, access to the lock bar, very generous. It has good texturing. Bob TERZUOLA typically does good access. Not always, but for the most part. So very easy to get to that stud, very easy to get to that lock bar. Super, super smooth, like ridiculously smooth. It almost is shockingly smooth. Now the detent is a little on the lighter side. We'll talk about that in a second. The ergonomics are very comfortable. Like I like this type of handle shape because I can turn it around and cut straps. I can push forward. I can cut sideways very easily. I can do utility cuts and pinch grips. Every grip, even the gas station knife fighting grip is really good. So very well done on the ergonomics. I personally love a handle like this. And for a compact knife like this, because this is not a big knife, but it's also not a tiny knife, you get a perfect grip on this. This geometry is not the thinnest, but it's also not thick. It is right there in that medium area where it's going to slice really, really well, but it's also not going to be flimsy or fragile. Now, the next thing, well, the clip, like I said, functions extremely well. Love this clip because of how smooth the texturing is. Love to see the TA hardware like this. It definitely has an overbuilt feel to it because, you know, you have the the pin right here, the stop pin. Then you have a screw here, and a screw here. So it really puts a lot of screws in a small area. So talk about having a solid handle. Just so you guys know, the items featured in any video is always going to have affiliate links linked at the top of the description. So if you're wanting to check out the project and get any more details that I did not say, you can go to the description, click the link. It will take you directly to the product to either purchase it or just look at some more details. Now that also goes for a lot of other stuff like sharpening supplies and other dealers and so on and so on. They're always linked in every single video, but the products featured in that video will be at the top of the description or near the top. Very, very solid, rock solid lockup, and it is so smooth. Now, let's talk about the detent. So the detent is on the lighter side. Yes, it's on the lighter side. Now, the thing is I haven't decided yet if I want to tune it stronger, or if I'm just going to leave it, because I am finding I like it. I enjoy it because it's light, it makes it super fidgety. Like, and very, very smooth, almost too smooth. So I might tune it stronger. I'm not sure yet. I was going to do it in this video just to show you guys, but I do already have a video on that if you want to see it. If you've ever wanted to tune your own detent, you can go watch that video, and it shows you exactly how to tune it detent stronger or lighter, depending on whichever one you want. Now, I know for sure I can tune the detent stronger on this. I just hope that it doesn't make it less smooth. That's why you don't ever want to go too much. You want to do a very, very little bit at a time. But I know I could tune this a little stronger very, very easily. The steel liners are inset in the titanium. And well, this side does not have a liner, but on this side it has a steel liner, and it wedges behind the the back spacer. So that having those extra screws really applies the pressure on there, holding the liner in place. It does have a very early lockup, which I do like because it's a brand new model, leaving all of that life left to break in. That to me is a good thing. Not being a frame lock though, I don't have to worry about squeezing it over, which you know is cool. But if I do decide to, it'll be very easy for me to tune the detent to my preference. So it's not that big of a deal to me because it's so easy to fix, but it still is a thing. I wish they would tune it just a tiny smidgen stronger. Next thing, stop pin placement. So we have the stop pin there. Listen to that sound. Very cool sound. I like the sound of this. And that's the same stop pin in the closed position. Then it lands right behind the edge. Now, granted, it is landing here, so I'm not going to sharpen it out. There's no way I can do that, or it would be very, very difficult to sharpen that steel out, so I'm not worried about that. But I would like to, after I do sharpen it, because I personally would lower back my edge angle, put a nice big edge bevel on there, which will absolutely create a smile when I sharpen. It is going to, that you can actually already see it from the factory. And I'm surprised they didn't fix that issue, because the Archer had a similar issue and I showed it, and they have fixed it since then. So since my video, I got to check one out at Blade Show, and they had it fixed, at least on one model. So I imagine after that, they were going to do them all like that, and they had it perfect. A perfect plunger and sharpening choil. I wish they would have done that on this. Now, I know this has got to hold the essence of the Bob TERZUOLA custom, so I get it, but I don't think it's a bad thing to add little features like that. But, you know, it's Bob's design, so I get it, but I think that it would be just good to just do that, because then, you know, for the sharpeners, you don't want your knife to look beat up and look like, you know, it's gonna, like, because when you cut in a smile into your plunge grind, sharpening it, it can make your knife look older. Now, the way you can fix that is by adding a little sharpening notch, which I can do. I just got to make sure I do not go past that stop pin area. I got to make sure I stew it in front of the stop pin area. So you just got to be careful with it. So it's not that big of a deal, but I do wish they would have just did it for me, so I didn't have to in the future. But I do, and it will for sure create a smile. It's already smiling, or starting to smile from the factory. You can see it. how the edge cuts into the plunge. So that'd be nice if that was a little bit larger. Next thing. Is there a next thing? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much everything. I don't really have very many complaints. I like this model a lot. However, I do want to talk about a controversial topic about Tactile. But let's pull up the Chupacabras that I got back, which are amazing. This is the beautiful satin. I love that satin. That is a beautiful satin. Beautiful stonewash, and they fixed the jimping. So if you look at my old back strap, this is why I had them sent in. This is the original one, and this was smooth. It was slick. It basically it shouldn't even have jimping because it didn't work. It was very, very smooth. Now they've sharpened it. So now the jimping is much, much sharper and aggressive, and it grips you back now. I'm very, very happy to see them do that because that was basically a deal breaker for me. That was one of my biggest issues. So I'm very happy to see that they fixed that. Now, controversial topic. Oh, just really quick. MagnaCut steel 6364 HRC, aluminum handles, steel liners, amazing locking system that we're also going to talk about here in a second because I know there's also a little thing about that too. Deep carry clip, very comfortable in the hand. I love this model. It's one of my favorite USA made models right now, especially under 300 bucks. This thing is just, it's so well done. I love that they were able to tune the detent with this type of locking system. Listen to this. That's amazing. So when you open it, it has this click, 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 clicky sound. Click, click. That was my fault. Yeah, great action, man. That detent is really nice, very ergonomic. Love the blade shape. The geometry is good. Perfect sharp control. They did leave you tons of room so you can lay back your edge as far as you want. Very, very well done. I love the Chupacabra, especially now that the back strap's fixed. Now, controversial topic. So, I've seen a lot of comments because I think people are worried that Tactile, when they first drop a model or when they introduce a model, that their quality control isn't the best on their first batch. Now, I have too had issues, and so I'm not saying they don't exist, but I do want to defend them in some way because I've dealt with a lot of companies, guys, a lot of companies, and there's a lot of companies out there that like I could say something bad about and they'll never fix it. They'll never even think twice about doing anything about it, and they'll just leave the knife the way it is for years to come. Tactile actually listens to that and then goes and does adjustments for the next version and stuff. That doesn't make them bad, that makes them good. Number two, with quality control issues, yes, I do think that maybe they should send out, and this wouldn't even be about quality control. I think they should send out their prototype model before they ever do the first production run, whether it's to me or somebody else. I'd be more than happy to check it out, even, without, filming it or anything, just to give them some feedback of things that I would alter or change. I think that that can only benefit them. Now, people are complaining that, that they have had quality control issues from the factory. However, Tactile always takes care of it. So I've dealt with a lot of companies, and I've dealt with companies that when you have an issue, they try to blame it on you. They literally will blame it on you. You're the issue, you're the problem, and any type of criticism you have, they attack you for it or try to make it seem like you did something wrong. And Tactile has always been awesome, just absolutely amazing. They're very easy to communicate with, very easy to contact, very easy to fix any issues. You can, I went to their shop and filmed their shop, and I know you're going to say, well, that's because you film and stuff and you have a channel. I know people that don't have a channel that have done that. So these guys are awesome. They're a USA company, and to me, I could never turn my back on a company that is willing to fix the issue, right? That to me, the issue is not the problem, it's what do you do about it? What's your response? How do you respond? How do you act? How do you deal with the situation? This is somewhat of a newer company, So you can expect little bumps, in the beginning, and I do think that they are starting to get them right. Of course, every company from the start is going to have little tiny issues. I just hate when I see people saying that they'll never buy a Tactile again because of a quality control issue or whatever, or maybe a model that they did that maybe they put out a little early or something. Because, yeah, like I said, man, these guys are so easy to deal with and such good people. Like, the entire team is awesome. And I can't say enough good things about the people. And to me, that's a very important factor. Of course, the product is too. So considering that they are willing to hear feedback and constructive criticisms and make adjustments, when needed, to me, man, I think that's amazing. With all the companies that do the exact opposite and will never, ever change anything, they don't take constructive criticisms. It's almost like they're not even listening to the market or their buyers. To me, man, that right there alone is so important to me. And I love that Tactile welcomes that and has been so awesome about that. And even when, like, I've been critical of our product, they've still sent me, you gotta understand, like, from a company's perspective, that's dangerous to them, right? That's dangerous to send their knife out into the lion's den, or to get scrutinized or whatever. And even when I've gave what people would call maybe a negative review on something, they have still continued to send products to be scrutinized to make them better. So, like I said, with all the companies that are the exact opposite way of that, that, won't even send you another product after a bad review, or, won't even consider the criticisms. Yeah, to me, I freaking love them. They're one of my favorite USA companies. I think these guys are doing a phenomenal job. Love their designs. I love their work. Yeah, I think they could do something about their first early model productions, like whenever it's in first production, maybe send out a prototype to maybe get some adjustments. But other than that, maybe there's some little quality control issues that they could tune up, which, I think every company's going to have to deal with. So I have no doubt that that's not something that they're going to work on and possibly take note on and make sure to fix. But don't ever write off a USA company that's as awesome as these guys. So considering that they are willing to hear feedback and constructive criticisms and make adjustments, when needed, to me, man, I think that's amazing. With all the companies that do the exact opposite and will never, ever change anything, they don't take constructive criticisms. It's almost like they're not even listening to the market or their buyers. To me, man, that right there alone is so important to me. And I love that Tactile welcomes that and has been so awesome about that. And even when, like, I've been critical of our product, they've still sent me, you gotta understand, like, from a company's perspective, that's dangerous to them, right? That's dangerous to send their knife out into the lion's den, or to get scrutinized or whatever. And even when I've gave what people would call maybe a negative review on something, they have still continued to send products to be scrutinized to make them better. So, like I said, with all the companies that are the exact opposite way of that, that, won't even send you another product after a bad review, or, won't even consider the criticisms. Yeah, to me, I freaking love them. They're one of my favorite USA companies. I think these guys are doing a phenomenal job. Love their designs. I love their work. Yeah, I think they could do something about their first early model productions, like whenever it's in first production, maybe send out a prototype to maybe get some adjustments. But other than that, maybe there's some little quality control issues that they could tune up, which, I think every company's going to have to deal with. So I have no doubt that that's not something that they're going to work on and possibly take note on and make sure to fix. But don't ever write off a USA company that's as awesome as these guys. That would not be a good idea. Another thing really quick, these are kind of being known as the lock slipping a little bit. If you really tap down on it really hard, they will slip or they will fail. Now, I've sat here and put as much pressure as I possibly could on both of them to try to get it to fail, testing to see if my thumb pressure would do it, and I can't apply enough pressure to fail it. So I don't think it's an issue. And this one did fail a bit easier than this one. This one I was able to give it more of a go without it failing. If I slam it, yes, it will slip, just like the majority of locks on the market. Now, the other Sneck locks, not saying this is a Sneck lock, but it's very similar, that I did test, also did that, but they did take quite a bit more effort. Like one of them didn't fail at all. And then the other two, the Wee Knife and the Civivi Vision, did wind up failing, but it was it was very hard hits on concrete. So I consider that still very strong to take that much force. These ones are slipping a little bit easier, but two things. One, if you have any issues with this lock has a spring in the back. It's just like this. So there's a spring down here, and that spring is pushing it up behind the tang of the blade, locking it in place. You can always adjust that spring tension to be stronger if you ever get a little up and down. One thing I can say about this lock, at least from the ones that I've tried, like even the Civivi and Wii ones, even after failing it a whole bunch of times with incredible impact, it still would rock solid lock up. Like it would lock up and have no play any direction. And I like that. I like a lock that does feel very solid. Like I said, if you do have a little issue, you can always stretch your spring a little bit and tighten it up a little bit, because, you know, especially over time. But as far as it's slipping, I don't think it'll be an issue. I've tested a bunch of these, and, you know, the one that I tested for a while, I sharpened multiple times. I used the hell out of it, and they wound up replacing the blade on it. They're probably, you know, just probably because it was sent in. So that's really awesome. I'm very happy they did that, because I had already sharpened and tested it so much. No issues at all. I know why people would not want that, and I don't want that. So hopefully that's something, you know, they can, you know, figure out in the future. I just don't see it as an issue right now. Most liner locks and frame locks will also do the same thing with you know, a decent hit. Maybe you could, or they could just leave a grippier texture inside there. That might potentially help, because it might be just because of the impact and it being so smooth, it might be slipping for that reason. But you know, like I said, man, it still takes a decent amount of impact. Even if yours lightly does a tap, what you want to be worried about is whether or not you can put pressure on the spine. And so far, I haven't found any that'll fail from that. But yes, some of them will from some impact. But, you know, I still consider it a tough knife, because I personally don't think that would ever happen in my hands. I don't plan on batoning this thing or anything like that. To me, it's a tough pocket knife that's, you know, for cutting. But anyways, guys, like I said, I will have another video of this going up very soon. I will link everything I can down in the description for you guys. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.